It is the season premiere of Picks with David. And thanks for joining me for the 2024 season premiere here on YouTube and Facebook. I really appreciate the fact that I've got an audience here to discuss the NFL games as we start this wonderful season. I'm so excited. And we have two games, the first back to back weekday kickoff games that we've ever had. We've got the Thursday night opener and then the Friday night game. So let's discuss both of those as we move forward with our first game that starts on Thursday night on NBC. It's a rematch of the AFC Championship game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs. Baltimore last season won the AFC North Division and finished the season with a 14-5 record overall, including the playoffs. But they're bitter because they lost at home in the AFC Championship game to these Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs, of course, won their second straight Super Bowl title. They finished the season overall with a 15-6 record, and so they're going for the three-peat this year. And both teams have made quite a few changes as we head into this season. Let's begin with Baltimore. Baltimore's biggest change this year is they finally have the perennial Pro Bowl running back that they have been searching for in Derrick Henry. He comes over from the Tennessee Titans. He ran for what was a down year for him, over 1,100 yards, but 12 rushing touchdowns. And so they're finally going to have that battering ram to run the football. They are excellent at running the football and have been over the years. You got to include Lamar Jackson in that, the current NFL MVP. He accounted for over 29 total touchdowns, both rushing and passing this last year, and which led to his MVP season. Baltimore was the number one seed in the AFC this last year. Now, they have a few losses. Patrick Queen, one of their inside linebackers, has gone to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And their offensive line may be a little shaky as they lost a couple of players that started last year, including Morgan Moses, who was traded to the New York Jets. For Kansas City, the biggest concern they had last year was a lack of a deep receiving core. Nobody could get deep. There were catches that were dropped right in their hands. Penalties were a problem for the Chiefs, but somehow they woke up late in the season, were managed to go through the playoffs. They played a very tough schedule going on the road to Buffalo, to Baltimore, and then faced the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Well, this year offensively, they've added themselves some big time receivers, including first round draft pick Xavier Worthy out of Texas. He ran the fastest 40 time in the history of the NFL Combine at a 4.21 in the 40-yard dash. They also signed Hollywood Marquise Brown. Now, he won't play due to an injured shoulder, but they have Juju Smith Schuster, who returns after a 1 year stint with the New England Patriots. The defense lost L'Jarius Sneed in a trade to the Tennessee Titans this offseason, and Willie Gay, a linebacker, went to the New Orleans Saints. But on staff, they had depth at both corner and linebacker. And so the Kansas City Chiefs are going to raise their banner on Thursday night. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to open up their offense. We're going to have a barn burner here as both teams will try to feel each other out. As the early season games always show, the defense is usually ahead of the offense, but I think both these teams have something to prove to the other and to the rest of the NFL as we go into our first week of the season here. Both teams think that they can make it back to the playoffs, they can win their divisions, that they expect to see each other again in the AFC Championship game. So this may not be the first time that we see this matchup this year. I like the Kansas City Chiefs. While they lost last year, I think in the opening game to the Detroit Lions, I think that will be a lesson for this year's team, who's mostly intact from last year. A lot of returning players on both these squads. I like Kansas City to sneak by and win the game on Thursday Night Football. Our first ever Friday night kickoff game comes from Brazil as the Green Bay Packers take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Green Bay is a young and upcoming team, and they snuck into the playoffs last year with a 9-8 record. And then they managed to destroy the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas in Wild Card Weekend and played a very tough game against the San Francisco 49ers in the divisional playoff round. This year, the team returns mostly intact with a new defensive coordinator who comes over as the former head coach from Boston College. The defense is looking to be improved, and the offense continues to have a wide array of big time playmakers at the wide receiver position that they've acquired over the last 3 years. The big addition for the Green Bay Packers this year is they let Aaron Jones walk away and they brought in Josh Jacobs, the hard runner from the Las Vegas Raiders. I expect the running game to be even better than it was last year. Jordan Love proved and got a huge contract in exchange for it that he can be the franchise quarterback for this Green Bay Packer team. They go to Brazil and they face off against the Philadelphia Eagles, who last year imploded down the stretch. And so they brought in some new coordinators in Kellen Moore on the offense and Vic Fangio on the defense. The team brings in Saquon Barkley to run the football, and I think that will be a huge addition to their offensive running game as they let DeVonta Swift move on to the Chicago Bears. Now, the offensive line will be in question early on in the season. All pro center Jason Kelce retired, and so the offensive line has had some shuffling around. They bolstered their defense this offseason, bringing back some familiar faces, and also joining them are some high draft picks in the secondary. So when you take a look at this particular game, I think this is going to be a great NFC matchup here early in the year. Once again, the defenses, I think, are going to have the advantage. It's going to be hot and muggy in Brazil. We'll have to see how that affects the players, considering it's the very first week of the season. Neither team has really played their starters heavily during the preseason, but I expect with the running game to be excellent for both teams. I think that it could be a low scoring affair. One of these teams is going to win, possibly by a field goal. I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles to show off a new offense and show that they are a contender in the NFC as they're going to knock off the Green Bay Packers in week 1. Finally, here is my preseason prediction. I have the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Detroit Lions in Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans by the score of 37-27. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching this kickoff special, my opening picks of the season here on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for joining me right here for another edition of Picks with David. Be sure to tune in on Sunday as I'll have some picks for the weekend. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.